The 40th VMAs were probably the best VMAs that I've actually witnessed in recent years, which is fitting considering how great of a year 2024 has been for music in general. In this short and quick video, I'm just going to share some thoughts that I had, mostly centered around the performances, because wow, I was actually glad to tune in live this year. So much happened, and many of my personal favorite artists were celebrated this year. First and foremost, we have to talk about the winners. This year, they were pretty relaxed over who won. The emphasis was less on the awards and the winners themselves and more on the performers. I really can't complain about anyone who won because Espresso was the song of the year, definitely deserved it. What I did find weird was that many of the big categories were revealed seemingly off screen. I personally believe that this was due to how many performers they had this evening and out of respect for the tragedy that happened 23 years ago on 9/11. The show had actually been set to take place on Tuesday, 9/10, but was moved due to the presidential debate, which itself was insanity. Taylor Swift, who was a big VMA award winner last night, endorsed Kamala Harris that same night, breaking records for visits to voter registration websites. Katy Perry was the recipient of the iconic Vanguard Award, an overdue honor considering her stunning videography, which was visually very definitive of the late 2000s and early 2010s. She also received the Most Iconic Performance Award for Aurora back in 2013, which many decried because Gaga's iconic paparazzi performance of 2009 was also in the running. Chappell Roan had won Best New Artist and shouted out queer kids stuck out in the Midwest, as well as drag queens and all the other queer and trans people who inspire pop music in general. The biggest winner last night was Taylor Swift, who took home Best Direction and Editing. She also took home Artist of the Year, Song of the Summer, Best Pop, and Video of the Year for Fortnite. And while she didn't announce Reputation TV like some believed she would never do it on 9/11. She did give a shout out to her boyfriend Travis Kelce and implored people to vote. Now I'm just going to talk about the performances really briefly. I'm not going to cover every performance because some I really just mentally tuned out of. It was a very long night, but this year was very stacked. Lisa was phenomenal. Between New Woman and Rockstar, she served looks and proved that she had the it factor. She's currently with Columbia Records, who are trying to clearly push her as a new star. As a soloist, she retains the confidence and charm that she had with Blackpink. I look forward to her solo album. Shawn Mendes' performance of Nobody Knows definitely felt like him trying to cement a more serious adult image to great effect. I think he sounded pretty great, even though I'm not too big on Nobody Knows as a single or Shawn as an album just yet. The live band and him had great chemistry. You could tell he was really playing his instrument. I don't think his new album's going to yield any major singles the way that his previous works did, but I do think the record is going to be received pretty well and sort of help finish his transition towards a stronger adult contemporary albums artist kind of vibe. Anita was brilliant as always. Her performance was really fun. The energy and the vibes that she brought really added to the evening. I felt like her medley showed her range. But I have to talk about Sabrina Carpenter. Her performance was iconic. I love the fact that she celebrated her 3 huge hits of the summer, starting with Please 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 and transitioning to an insane Taste performance. I also love the fact that she referenced Britney in the little intro to Taste. I think she played a little piece of Britney's VMA performance for You Drive Me Crazy. I'm not sure. That Taste performance had a lot of risque stuff in it between the Moon Man and the alien that she made out with before shoving both of them off to sing Espresso, which really was the big hit of the summer. I found it really interesting that she performed that as the closing song because it acknowledged that it's a very huge turning point of the year for her. Espresso was the song of the summer for many, including myself. Award or not, be damned. Having it be the focus at the end really made sense. It felt like a full circle moment because last year she was performing just at the pre-show. I need to talk about Katy Perry's performance and her Vanguard speech. I thought they were pretty excellent. I've been critical of Woman's World, but I have to admit that she looks amazing, and the aesthetics of that 1-4-3 sort of album cycle have been the saving grace for a rather troubled era. She did such a great mix of Dark Horse, E.T., California Girls, Teenage Dream, I Kissed a Girl, Firework, while trying to mix in I'm His, He's Mine with Doechii, and Lifetimes, though I couldn't help but notice or realize how many of the hits that she's had and how the quality of her previous works really still outshine the two songs from 143. Doechii and Katy's kiss had me really gagged though. I think Katy has always been an excellent entertainer throughout the years. The art direction, the costumes really did go off. And I really loved her speech where she thanked everyone who helped her build her 2-decade-long career. It was very gracious, it was intelligent, it was well-spoken. She thanked everyone from her team, the people who have been with her for many years. She surprisingly thanked her label Capitol, and she really did thank the gays who have sort of been doing the hard work of carrying her career throughout the years, even throughout her flop eras. I do think that regardless of how the album goes, 143 as a tour is going to be amazing, especially if she keeps up these visual qualities. This was a much needed win for Katy Perry because next week is the release of 143 and honestly it's not looking so hot, but I do think that this calls positive attention to her and hopefully she kind of rebounds. At the very least, this was a reminder of her established pop legacy. Someone who was building her pop legacy last night was Chappell Roan. Her performance was legendary. I think it was my favorite of the night, just starting with her as a knight that sieges a castle. Before she goes into Good Luck Babe, which has been one of the bigger hits of the summer, it has yet to have a music video, but I imagine it might look like this performance. Chappell Roan looked like an absolute superstar. She sounded amazing. The choreography and the concept felt very unique. The medieval setting and the costuming felt really high budget and blockbuster. Roan has been the subject to many criticisms because of how she's been handling her fame and the parasocial nature of it. Just on the red carpet, I think she cussed out paparazzi, which is something we have not seen from a star so far because of decorum and stuff, and I do appreciate the fact that she is breaking the rules. On that red carpet, she actually teased her performance with this gorgeous medieval-looking dress. I really do think that this performance, of all the performances last night, that this one's probably going to be the one that's remembered long past tonight. The fact that Chappell was able to do both of those long ad-libs at the end of the song perfectly. I'm just obsessed with this performance. This is the one that I'm going to probably play at afters years from now. I totally see why she chose to do this performance and cancel her shows. This was a big moment for her and a big middle finger to anyone who kind of doubted that she'd had the juice to stay relevant. I do think that she has the star power. This performance was just undeniable, one of my favorites. It almost felt like a Lady Gaga moment, and I rarely compare people to Gaga. I rarely do. It's a very high bar. Megan Thee Stallion, who I believe hosted the event, I'm not sure if she did, but she did show up quite a bit. The medley that she did from Megan shocked me, going from Boa, which I thought was really underrated, to Hiss, BAS, and bringing out Yuki Chiba for Mamushi. Mamushi was a surprise viral hit for me this summer. I did not expect it to become as big as it did. I heard it on the radio quite a few times while traveling throughout the country. I'm so glad that she flew out Chiba from Japan to do his verse. There's a really funny clip of the camera guy cutting to Tyla during the performance. Speaking of which, I'm surprised he did not have Tyla perform. I think she's so charismatic. Her little speech just reminded me how much of a star she is, and I cannot wait to see what she does next. Raul Alejandro really brought some interesting choreography. I thought his performance was an excellent tribute to Puerto Rico and West Side Story. I'm not too familiar with him, but I have to check him out. I believe he featured on a couple of Bad Bunny songs. Honestly, he looked great, and the dance moves that he pulled out and the effort, I will definitely check him out. Halsey brought out her rock star self with Ego off of her new album, The Great Impersonator. I have not caught up with this era, but her last rock record was a masterpiece in my eyes. This track honestly sounded really good. I finally listened to the studio version. It's pop rock perfection. She did such a great job of hooking me back into her music. The little vibe of performing in a garage, the 90s aesthetic really fits that different years theme that she seems to be hinting at. I really don't want to sleep on her new record. She has my attention now. Really good underrated performance in my opinion. And last but not least, Kamia Cabello wowed me with a performance that really just started off as June Glim with her blonde CXOXO looks that shifted into Godspeed with her new restored black hair. Kamia's vocals were amazing, and the moment that she broke that laptop, it's bound to be a new reaction video for some people. She had just released the Magic City version of CXOXO. It only added 4 new tracks to the record, but I highly recommend giving it a listen, and also the album itself if you have not listened to it. CXOXO has become one of my personal favorite albums of the year, really growing on me over the summer. I just feel so bad that it has been overlooked and ignored, but I do hope to see her when she does inevitably tour the album. Which brings me to the overall things, aside from some rather awkward reminders of this evening's extremely tragic place in American history. The VMAs really did deliver this year in terms of performances. I feel like it was really the emphasis being put on music this year. I argue that this was the most entertaining VMAs in recent history, despite no earth-shattering announcements like Taylor's surprise Midnight's announcement 2 years ago. My sole complaint would be how the awards themselves were mostly sidelined, but considering who was performing last night, I don't think anyone really minds. Anyway, these are fan-voted awards. I'm not saying fan voices don't count, but with like bots and spamming and like voting and all that other stuff, I just don't take it seriously. This ain't the Grammys, and I'm actually glad it's not like the Grammys because the performances, again, really high tier. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching this super short, brief sort of like recap video. I just really wanted to talk about the different performances last night. I got to see so many of my faves really just show themselves off and see them get rewarded for their efforts this year. 2024 has been my favorite year of music so far that I've covered on this channel. I've started covering music in 2018, and this year is probably the best year in terms of quality and quantity. I want to give a shout out to my members. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and taking that extra step. I also want to thank my subscribers. Thank you for staying with me, even though the schedule has been rather weird recently, but it will return to a more regular pace. If you haven't, subscribe, like, comment below what you felt about the VMAs. Hit that notification bell if you haven't so that you can, know when my next videos are coming out, and I hope to see you next video.